Hello, YouTube and X. It's your main man, BTM here, bringing you back to the BTM Crypto News Network. So, thanks for joining. Don't forget to like, share, and subscribe and super chat. And as always, let's get to the money. But today is Friday, so happy Friday. We made it. Can have a good weekend, can rest, spend some time with your family. But today we're talking about XRP and Ripple's set to get their national bank license approval today. And I've been waiting for an announcement and have not seen anything yet. But the word on the street is it's going down today. So there's a lot of information, there's a lot of hype, but we have not yet seen the official announcement yet. So let me know what you guys think. Do you think it will happen today? Has anybody seen any actual information or any announcements? I'm just a messenger, just here trying to figure out what's going on. But let's get to it. Turn on the spotlight and see what we can see. So this is, of course, the sponsor for the BTM Crypto News Network. It's our friends over here at Caleb and Brown. I see where you guys are actually using it and signing up, so I definitely appreciate that. And on this Friday, I appreciate all the people that's signing up. If you're new to crypto and looking for a crypto broker or someone to help you with your crypto journey, you get 24/7 support and you get an actual person, not a system or a IVR, not a call, but an actual person online that can help you through your crypto journey. And you get a broker once you sign up. If you use my link in the description, I think you get a small percentage off, but you do get a one-on-one broker. So every time you call in, you can talk to the same person. So you don't have to start up and go over everything from the beginning. You can go forward with your broker and understand what you need, what you're looking for, and they can help you along your crypto journey. So again, if you're new to crypto, you can use the brokerage, Caleb and Brown, to help you navigate your crypto journey. They are pretty useful and can help you out. So use the link in the description to sign up. So this is the bubbles. Doesn't look like it's a lot going on today. A lot of red in the market. But let me play this quick video and then we'll come back to the bubbles.
So the mainstream media is using the recent market crash to deliberately distract you, okay? They want your eyes glued to the liquidations. They want it glued to the macro fear and the short-term red candles, y'all. But while the retail, okay, is busy panic selling, the biggest institutional power play in crypto is quietly unfolding right before our eyes, okay? But this Friday, okay, Ripple could officially become a federally chartered United States bank. Here is the truth they are hiding from you. All right. And I'm here to break all of this down. Right now, you are being subject to a psychological trap. Okay. Wall Street analysts are suddenly slashing their XRP price target. They are pushing the narrative that the token has lost its utility. Okay. Now, if you are feeling the pressure to dump your bags just to stop the bleeding, I completely understand. Okay, this is exactly how they designed this system to make you feel. Okay, they shake you out. Okay, they shake you out of the weak hands that you think that you have by engineering massive violent volatility. Okay, but you have to look at what the smart money is actually doing. Okay, not what they are saying. I told y'all Don't pay attention to all of the noise. Look at the a lot of the actions that's going on. Okay, rumors are at an absolute fever pitch today that the OCC is on the verge of granting Ripple a national trust bank charter. Isn't that insane, y'all? This is not a drill. Okay, this legally allows Ripple to operate within the core infrastructures of the traditional banking system. Okay, this has been going on for a while in process, and now we're seeing things come to light. Okay, this changes XRP from a retail speculation token directly into an institutional bridge asset. Okay, when true utility demands hits, okay, the assets does not climb slowly. Okay, it reprices abruptly to meet the what? The multi-trillion-dollar liquidity needed for the banks. Okay, they are keeping the price suppressed today, so institutions can load their vaults before Friday's verdict. Tomorrow is a big day, y'all. You have to pay attention to that. Do not fall for the trap. Okay, your only job right now is survival. Okay, move your XRP off the public exchanges, secure it in a cold storage immediately. Okay, if you want to survive the shakeout and stay ahead of the institutional money, hit the subscribe button right now, and we will see you in the next one. Howdy.
So shout out to the realm of crypto and that quick update. So we are still waiting to see what's going on with the bank charter. Let me know in the comments if you guys did see, hear, or came across any information about the banking charter being approved. I have been looking and have not actually seen anything official yet, but we'll keep looking. And this is a quick video from, I guess, they are in Australia.
And it's all of these little swooshes, and bit by bit by bit, until it really does, I think, have an exponential impact. And I think you're starting to see that. It's taken a little longer in some cases, but on the other hand, we've made so much progress. And you're seeing more and more of these little switches flip. And it's the reason why I have so much optimism about 2026 and certainly beyond. And look, part of that truly is you all are one of those flip switches. Like seeing the passion in Australia, seeing the passion, we're on a kind of world tour right now. And like, it's awesome. And each of these individual things and the advocacy and clarifying and debunking the FUD and misinformation, like it's all part of it.
So I wonder where that full footage is. I keep seeing bits and pieces, but not the full update. But we'll come back to that. This is, again, the crypto bubbles. So we'll go through the numbers real quick. Let me know if you guys have anything to add to, dang it, I'm trying to log in this other machine, to crypto bubbles for us to track. Let me know in the comments as well. So let's get to it. Don't forget to like, share, and subscribe, and super chat if you can, or you can hit me up on Cash App. So this is AI XBT is up 17.3. I had some dental surgery done yesterday, so I'm kind of sore a little bit from that. That's why I didn't make any videos yesterday and the day before. But I'm trying to get a ZBCN video tonight, a live stream. This is Cosmos is up 0.8, Jupiter's up 0.4, Pith is up 2.2, Nero is up 0.2, XDC XCN is up 1.3, Polymesh is up 1.9. Quant's up 0.4. Satoshi is up 1.9. ICP is up 1.3. Canton Network is up 1.4. Ordinai is up 3.8. IXOZ is up 1.2. Arbitron's up 3.1. Swarms is up 4.4. Ton's up 1.8. Nexo is up 0.1. Quant is up 0.4. I think we did this already. So as far as down, Dave, what up, fam? What up, brother? Damn, Dennis. Yeah, you're right, bro. Dennis is a freaking pimp, man. The prices for freaking surgeries and cleanup and the never-ending story. And I think I have bad teeth in general. So yeah, I'm spending a fortune with these guys, man. So Binance is down 1.3. Casp is down 5.3. Safe is down 1.5. BGB is down 2%. XPR is down 1.8. XVS is down 0.5. Stronghold is down 5.3 on the day, 0.3 on the hour, 7.4 on the week, 30.3 on the month, and 52.2 on the year. Zcash is down 7.4 on the day, 0.6 on the hour, 13.5 on the week, 41.8 on the month, and up 508 on the year. XLM's down 1.5. Cubic's down 3.2. FET is down 1.5. Hyperliquid, something I was looking at. I'm glad I didn't invest in it because it's been down 8% on the week, 17% on the month. It might continue to drop, so I'm going to have to wait that out. Litecoin's down 1.4. Telecoin's down 1.1. Ingest is down 1.1. Flare's down 1.9 on the day, 0.3 on the hour, 0.7 on the week, 13.6 on the month, and 44.1 on the year. When is the market going to turn around? ZBCN, despite launching the super app, is down 0.2 on the day, 0.3 on the hour, 2.2 on the week, 25.3 on the month, and 32.2 on the year, still at the 002. I don't know what it's going to take to get ZBIC over the 0.002, man. What the freak is going on? Stronghold will move once that bill gets signed. I think you're right, Phantom Beat. What up, Phantom? But there's a lot of cryptos that are stuck behind this Clarity Act. And I don't think they're going to pass the Clarity Act anytime soon. I think this is hype, man. I think they are cornering us to shake out and continue to shake out before the price actually does any movement. It's going to keep going down and down and down. So these guys can buy it up cheap. And then they are going to push back up and sell it right back to us because they bought it cheap and get us to buy it high and make money. But we ain't selling, right? Gonna keep holding and keep stacking. Jasmine's down 1.4, Metal's down 1.6, AVAX is down 2.8, CVX is down 4.3, Chrono's down 0.8, Powell's down 6.3, Sui's down 2.2, Link's down 2.5, Alchemy Pay's down 2.6, World Mobile Token down 2.3 on the day, 0.6 on the hour, 14.3 on the week, up 7% on the month, down 65.2 on the year. Ondo's down 2.4, Nexo's down 0.5, Pith is down 2.6, Cardano's down 3.2, Hashtag has flows down 2.6. Trump's down 2%. Quant is up 0.2%. Lithium is down 0.3. SQD is down 0.8. Dash is down 1.9. Bitcoin Cash is down 4.2. XTC is down 5.2. Satoshi is down 1.8. What is this? Render is down 0.2. Prime's down 0.4. World Liberty Financial is down 2.2 on the day, 0.3 on the hour, 1.3 on the week, and 31.4 on the month. So let me know what you guys think about that. Casper's down 3.6. BitTensor Tiles down 1.1. Monero's down 0.4. Go to the big boys. So Bitcoin is down 2.3, back down to 65,260, down 0.9 on the hour, down 3.3 on the week, down 26.9 on the month, and 22.1 on the year. Ethereum is down 3.7 on the day, 1.3 on the hour, 4.2 on the week, 36.4 on the month, and 17.6 on the week to 1,914. XRP, our favorite cross-border payment processor, is down to $1.33, down 3.5 on the day, down 0.6 on the hour, down 5.9 on the week, down 29.8 on the month, and 39.5 on the year. And it's weird. It's like every time they make an announcement or about to make an announcement, the price goes down. So I don't know if it is by the rumor and sell the news or sell the news and buy the rumor. I don't know what's going on, but keeping it moving. We look at Solana. Solana is down 4.2 on the day, 0.9 on the hour, 3.2 down on the week, 35.3 on the month, and 35.9 down on the year to $81.40. So let's see here. Going over to X. Make sure you sign up for the BTM Crypto News Network. I see the numbers are going up. Let's see if we can get to 3,000 by the summer. So this is that same little video.
There's 100 switches. There's 1,000 switches. And it's all of these little switches, and bit by bit by bit, until it really does, I think, have an exponential impact. And I think you're starting to see that. It's taken a little longer in some cases, but on the other hand, we've made so much progress. And you're seeing more and more of these little switches flip. And it's the reason why I have so much optimism about 2026 and certainly beyond. And look, part of that truly is you all are one of those flip switches. Like seeing the passion in Australia, seeing the passion, we're on a kind of world tour right now. And like, it's awesome. And each of these individual things and the advocacy and clarifying and debunking the FUD and misinformation, like it's all part of it. There's not one switch. There's 100 switches. There's 1,000 switches. And it's all of these little switches, and bit by bit by bit, until it really does, I think, have an exponential impact. And I think you're starting to see that. It's taken a little while.
So shout out to Brad. I wish they would have somebody have the full video somewhere. Is that why we're dumping again? Is this Eric? Yes, Eric. That's a good question, right? Because I don't know. But yeah, you're right. I think something's up. So this is Alex. The U.S. OCC has approved Ripple's national trust license Ripple direct access to federal banking rails, regulated framework for custody, payments, and stablecoin. Another step towards institutional grade crypto infrastructure. So this is breaking news. Ripple received a conditional approval from the OCC to charter the National Trust Bank. Ripple just entered the U.S. banking system. This changes everything. The XRP community. What up, Alfred? What's going on with you, fam? Thanks for joining. Huge news. Ripple just received a conditional approval from the U.S. OCC to charter Ripple National Bank. This is a massive step forward for RLUSD, setting the highest standard for stablecoin compliance with both federal OCC and state NYDFS oversight. And who cares about the NYDFS oversight? To the bank lobbyists, your anti-competitive tactics are transparent. You're complaining that crypto isn't playing by the same rules, but here's the crypto industry directly under the OCC supervision and standards, prioritizing compliance, trust, innovation to the benefit of consumers. What are you so afraid of? You're so afraid of the banks freaking taking over, man. I mean, crypto taking over. We're taking over. Let's see. Trying to see if I can get the actual posting from Brad, if it's actually on his page. Eric, what up? H bar and XRP. Let's go. Oh, that's weird. That it is not actually here. We saw the posting, but I don't see it on his page. I wonder if that's clickbait. It's kind of interesting, actually. Where is that actual? That's weird. Back over to the BTM Crypto News Network. This is rumor alert. Tomorrow, Ripple may unveil the National Trust Bank. If true, this could be massive leap for XRP, bridging traditional finance with crypto infrastructure. The market's watching. Big moves could be coming. So shout out to XRP H bar. What's up, everybody? What up, B Rocket? Don't sleep on Chainlink. Definitely not. But there's a lot of players in the market. This is Lord. Ripple has officially assigned bank IDs to over 500 banks. What makes this concrete terms, what this means in concrete terms, Ripple isn't talking about marketing, but about real banking infrastructure. Bank IDs for institutional identifiers is used for uniquely identifying a bank within a payment network, managing KYC compliance, authorizing liquid flows, messaging the settlement connections, live banking systems, not testing. Assigning these identifiers means that these banks are technically integrated or ready to be recognized as national participants capable of sending and receiving payments through the rails. Shut the front door. So yeah, he's right. If they do have an actual identifier, they can send it through the banking system, right? You just put your identifier in there so they know where to send the money and where the money's actually going. It's kind of like a crypto address for banks. And I guess there is no sound here. But I'm trying to see, is Ripple, what are they showing us here? Is Ripple actually in this list? Or is this just a list of, whoa, I think that was Ripple. What are they actually showing us in this list? I don't see anything but a bunch of list of, oh, this is the Ripple. Okay, I'm tripping. This is the identifier list from Ripple. Interesting. That Ripple will be on here, but this is, I guess, the listings that Ripple can use. So shout out to Brad in the Ripple XRP RLUSD. This is Ripple invests in the future of AI and finance. The bank is investing $5 million USD in T54 Labs, a startup building a trust infrastructure for autonomous AI agents directly on the XRP ledger. AI systems should securely verify independent execution of payments and actual economy with clear identity, real risk checks, and transactional control. Ripple president Monica Long says an autonomous actor begins to manage real capital with trade with it. The trust infrastructure becomes a foundational part of the equation. We are proud to be at the forefront of AI innovation. So shout out to Ripple and what's her name? Sandra Long, I think. Monica Long. I was way off. So shout out to Ripple and Monica. Ripple set for U.S. National Bank approval today. If this happens, massive step forward, not just for Ripple, but the entire digital asset space. Big moment to watch. Ripple set for U.S. National Bank approval this Friday. Today is Friday, and I have not seen any concrete information yet. The Office of the Comptroller Currency in the United States have approved Ripple's National Trust Bank license. The approval grants Ripple direct access to federal banking infrastructure and establish a regulated framework for custody services, payments, and stablecoins. The U.S. OCC has approved Ripple's National Trust Bank license, granting Ripple direct access to federal banking rails and regulated framework for custody, payments, and stablecoins. It's almost time for XRP to moon. And this is the OCC has approved Ripple's National Trust Bank license, granting Ripple direct access to federal rails and regulated framework for custody. It's almost time to moon. Let me repeat. The bottom for XRP is in. Between now and March 3rd, we will break out of this huge falling wedge and climb fast above $2. XRP breaks. I don't think there's any words here. XRP could hit $10 in March. Shut the front door. The crypto market's heating up again. All eyes are on XRP. Rumors are spreading across the community that XRP could be preparing for a massive breakout towards the $10 level this March. Please and thank you. $3, $1.60, $3, $1.60, $1.60 to $10. That would be
I previously
very
shared my belief that XRP has the potential to reach $10 in March. While all investments involve risk and market conditions can change quickly, I remain confident in the outlook and the opportunity it may present. If this projection materializes, it could generate meaningful financial momentum. I encourage you to be prepared to act strategically and responsibly. One effective way to build long-term wealth is by transitioning gains into stable, income-producing assets such as real estate.
So that's a good side note as well. Make sure you have a plan when the money comes. Don't spend it on all assets that depreciate. I'll take that 10x. I mean 5x. Believe it, brother. But make sure you have a plan to buy an asset, right? You using a asset class to generate money, and then you turn around and spend it on something that depreciates. Make sure you use that asset and buy something of value. All in, bro. Appreciate that saga. XRP Ledger builders. The XRP Ledger builders ecosystem is entering a new phase. Learn what the changing and how to get involved. Since 2017, more than 550 million have been deployed into the XRP Ledger ecosystem, initiating supporting projects worldwide. In 2026, the focus expands to a more distributed model with new pathways for founders to access funding, technical support, and venture networks. This includes new programs, community-led funding mechanisms, expanded accelerated communities, regional ecosystem hubs, and growing venture participation, and continued support from independent ecosystems organizations. Peter, exactly, extremely early. Empires are not built overnight. It took Bitcoin 5 years to hit 1,000. Now everyone has a smartphone and crypto mainstream news. It will happen quicker for XRP. The Clarity Act is the catalyst to get things rolling once it passes. Jake is the best at explaining XRP and the market as a whole. Great guest to have on. Jake is not wrong. He is extremely early. So shout out to Jake. And why is there no video here? But definitely, we are early to the party. SBI, Ripple, Asia, and DSRV Labs have announced that they are exploring an adoption of the XRP Ledger as their blockchain infrastructure, with a focus on the Japanese and Korean markets. At the same time, Real Token's preparing for a significant listing on major exchange BTCC on February 28th, 2026, which is tomorrow, which will make accessible to substantial trading volume and investors around the world. I'm gonna have to go ahead and sign up for BTCC. It's not financial advice, just for entertainment purposes. RealFi has already handled more than 1.2 million in transactions. The token is currently listed on MEX with top decentralized exchanges built on the XRP ledger. Hong Kong just opened the floodgates. DL listing gets SFC approval to tokenize DL Towers and Amoka funds on the XRP ledger. The institutional takeover is here, and the XRP L is the engine. Stop sleeping on RWA. The future is built on XRP. Let's go. XRP Building Ripple releases white paper for banks to buy and sell crypto. Ripple has officially published a white paper entitled The Blueprint for Digital Asset Trading. This is a detailed framework for how banks, hedge funds, and large institutions can trade crypto more safely and efficiently. Right now, large institutions have to open accounts on multiple exchanges, move money back and forth, manage separate credit lines, and take on counterparty risk. One failure like FTX can freeze everything. XR Ripple Solution, a digital prime broker framework. Under the DPB model, one major prime broker would aggregate liquidity, manage credit, and net positions at the end of the day, reducing capital requirements and counterparty exposure. Ripple proposes leveraging the XRP ledger, XRPL, for on-chain credit lines and faster settlement, allowing earlier netting, greater transparency, and reducing systematic risk. Interesting. So I guess we're going over to look at the numbers. We'll come back to that. What up, Silver Days? Where you been, bro? What up, Dave? What up? Hop-Tord? What's going on? Keeping it moving. The market cap for crypto is 2.27 trillion, down 2%. Is this right? Hold up. Wait a minute. Let's refresh this real quick just to be for certain. Yep. CMC 20 is $134.94, down 2.3%. Fear and greed is 16, still in extreme greed. Altcoin season is at 35, pulling away from Bitcoin dominance. And average crypto RSI is 45.4, going a little bit back to oversold, because I think it was like in the 70s yesterday at overbought. This is the coin market cap. Coin market cap says, wowzers. I guess it's a good time to buy. Not financial advice. This is just for entertainment purposes. XRP is down 3% to $1.34. Market cap is 81.1 billion, down 3.079. 3.09. I'm tripping. Total 24-hour trading volume is 3.34 billion, down 16.69%. Middle East tensions are heating up fast. It's starting to look serious. Sweden and Germany have told their citizens to leave Iran immediately. So things are going down. India is doing the same thing, urging nationals to exit without delay. Two reasons why Ripple cannot overtake Ethereum. That's weird. XRP and Ethereum both have incredible runs in 2025. While the market faced substantial dip over the last few months, both assets hit new all-time highs in 2025. XRP and Ethereum also have spot ETFs to their name, making them worthy contenders. Many anticipate XRP to eventually dethrone Ethereum, believe it, as the second largest crypto project market cap. However, here's two reasons why XRP may not overtake Ethereum for the second position. And that's weird because there's no two reasons here. Where are the two reasons at, my guy? Thanks for that, fam. XRP versus Ethereum crypto battle. Here's why Ethereum may take the number 2 spot. Shout out to Block News. XRP is facing the most critical test in weeks. After a sharp reversal from the $1.48, it's now grinding against a massive on-chain support. Gas node data shows the largest concentration of investors' cost basis sits at the $1.38. Hundreds of millions in XRP were accumulated here. If $1.38 fails decisively, then the support vacuum below the next major cluster doesn't appear into $1.06, 22% down, and 80 cent, 41%. Price is currently hovering around the 135. We are seeing a retest of February 23rd lows. Buyers may need to step up now for bullish thesis to survive the XRP reclaim and close above the $1.38. A daily close below 135 confirms the breakdown, putting the 106 target squarely on the radar. Interesting. Sailor talks digital credit, mentions Solana and Ethereum, not XRP. Sailor has built his brand around Bitcoin, a digital property, but Strategy's World 2026 focus shifted. This time he spoke about the future of digital credit, naming Solana and Ethereum as the rails. XRP didn't come up. His vision is different from traditional banking. Instead of loans moving through legacy systems, Sailor sees credit issued directly on blockchains as a programmable instrument. In the model, lending products function more like software than paperwork, with yield, liquidity control, and adjustable terms coded into the asset itself. He didn't call it a new asset class. He framed it as a new financial building block. And in his view, networks like Solana and Ethereum already offer what's required: scale, liquidity, and active developer ecosystem. Wow. Good thing we're not paying Sailor for advice. XRP broke past the $1.40 and hit the $1.42 on February 25th, fueled by a massive 212% spike in retail buying volume and strong community hype, as always. After weeks of consolidation around the $1.30, $1.35, the momentum feels unreal. No big Ripple news yet, though. Just pure market energy and retail institutional interest is kicking in. Shout out to that. Let's look at Live Coin Watch real quick. Live Coin Watch is saying $1.38, down 2.26 for the hour, down 3% for the day, down 4.91 for the week, down 29.6 for the month, down 38.8 for the 90 days, and down 38.6 on the year. Keeping it moving. XRP Terminal is saying the ETFs are 6.38 mil won. Leverage is 10.5 mil. Let me refresh this because it's actually a lot higher than it was previously. So we're finally breaking up 8.57 million in 24-hour trading volume. Leverage volume is 14.6. Bybit is down 4.9% to $15.11. Franklin Templeton is down 4.83 to $14.68. 24-hour trading volume, 2.95 mil won. Bitwise, 3.5 mil won. Canary Capital is down 5.06 mil won, 5.06% to $14.33. 1.19 mil won 24-hour volume. Grayscale is down to 663,000 to $26.14, down 4.79%. Rex Offspray is $11.03, down 3.58 to $180. 21 shares is $13.13, down 4.67% to 45,000. Derivatives and leverage. Turcom 2X is $4.08, down 6.42% to 7.5 24-hour trading volume. Wow, volatility shares is $42.61, down 6.15% to 2.92 million. ProShares is down 6% to $3.91. Volatility is $7.68, down 3.06 to 1.62 million, and Amplifies $14.37, down 4.07 to 126,000. Moving forward, the XRP ledger is 461.1 million, up 35.02 cents in the last month. RWA count is 213. Represented asset value is 1.5 billion, up 6.37 in the last month. Stablecoin market cap is 426.7 million, up 5.43%. RWA holders is 22, up 4.6 in the last month. Stablecoin holders is 35.6 thousand, up 2.78. 30-day RWA transfer volume is 149.9, up 95.7 in the last month. And stablecoin 30-day transfer is 970.2 million, up 17.4 on the last month. Looks like RLUSD is up 2% on the month to 345. Ondo is up 292% to 160 million. CXR Digital is unchanged, and Zacconi is unchanged at 70 million. Over to the XRP radar. So total supply is 100 billion. In escrow is 36.9 billion. Circulating supply is 63 billion. XRP burnt is 14.3 million. RLUSD is 1.56 billion. Total exchanges is 14.2 billion. It's been 14.1 for a while. It's weird. ETFs and exchanges is 795.2 million. DeFi and AMM is 202.2 million. Tokenized RWA is 1.5 billion. Treasury is 473.3 million. Let's see here. If we look at the exchanges, wow, Upbit added 11 million. They're still at 38.1. Binance is 16.5. BitThumbs up 2.9 million to 12.7. Uphold is number 5, added 5,000. They're at 11.6%. BitBank is number 5 at 4%, down 225. CoinCheck added 273. So I guess, did we finish X? Let me see. Anything popping on X? What is this? CNC is highlighting XRP as a top crypto right now. Not Bitcoin, not Ethereum.
Is not Bitcoin, it is not Ether, it is XRP, the coin formerly known as Ripple, soaring more than 20% this year, becoming the third largest cryptocurrency out there, and there's big money behind this trade. Mackenzie Sagalos joins us now with that XRP trade and what, Mac, is driving all of this interest in XRP.
Well, what's actually been interesting is that during the doldrums of Q4, you actually saw a lot of people piling into those XRP ETFs, which is the exact opposite of what happens with the spot Bitcoin and Ether ETFs, where people really move in tandem with the price of the coin. But it was the fact that it is a way to have a higher percentage jump. So people were buying the dip with XRP in Q4, thinking this is a less crowded trade than Bitcoin or Ether. And then that proved out to be true just in the first 6 trading days of January.
We've also talked a lot about the blockchains and the ecosystems that are being built around many of these systems. We know kind of what they are with regard to Bitcoin. We certainly these days know what it is around Ethereum and Ether. What exactly is the big use case or driver? What's the practicality for XRP?
Well, with XRP and Solana, those are the two very popular altcoins right now where you're seeing a lot more interest. And with Solana, a lot of these different forms of tokenization. So we talk about tokenized dollars all the time in the context of stable coins. But now we're seeing a lot of people move into tokenizing money market funds. And Solana has become a blockchain use case for that. And XRP made its name in terms of cross-border payments. But what's been fascinating is even just this morning, Morgan Stanley, which has been especially progressive in terms of having their financial advisors suggest that clients get into the spot Bitcoin ETFs. They were the first bank to do that. They're now just this morning filing an S1 to launch their own Bitcoin and Solana ETFs because there is an appetite there.
So in the world where Bitcoin has become a bit mainstream, I'm not going to say the boomer, that's not my line, that's from somebody else. Is it possible that XRP and Solana are simply taking their place as kind of the next cool thing to know about? Or do they have a legitimately different and more relevant use case?
Well, in the context of just looking to make an investment that has bigger gains, you're not going to get that from Bitcoin just because it's already so established. You're not seeing the same kind of percentage moves. But what's fascinating with Solana especially is just that it moves faster. And so you're able to tokenize these funds, move, whether it's a money market fund that you're moving along or some other tokenized asset, it just is more efficient than Bitcoin as a base blockchain, which is why you're seeing more use cases.
But that's also the reason why, right? Solana is the big thing right now because it is a faster transaction mechanism.
Cheaper transactions too.
And Ether is a cheaper transaction mechanism as well. We talk about stable coins. If people have Coinbase wallets or Coinbase accounts, if they use the base network for now, many of those stable coins are transaction free. So the speed, is that what's driving a lot of this idea that cost and speed is going to be the defining factor for how people gravitate towards certain blockchains?
That's exactly it. And also with stablecoins, the Genius Act was passed into law last year, so we saw a lot more stablecoin issuers. But remember, it's not as though they only operate over one blockchain. You have different blockchains where you can move USDC, for example. And so Tron is another quick blockchain.
But at different costs, though,
at different price points.
Right.
And so Solana is a lot more cost effective than moving money over the Ethereum blockchain at different points, which is why you're seeing people diversify away from the big two.
Times are changing. Do you think that? Do you sense, you talk to these people more than any of us, Mac, do you sense the times are changing or not? Is it just, in other words, are they looking for the next thing now that Bitcoin's been in a consolidation pattern, or are the real like long-term holders, the true believers sticking with it?
I think absolutely we're seeing times change. You've got Vlad Tenev over at Robinhood talking about tokenizing equities. Brian Armstrong, part of why the Coinbase trade is doing so well, Goldman Sachs upgrading that to a buy, has to do with the fact that they're diversifying away from just being a cryptocurrency exchange, and they're getting into ultimately they want to tokenize equities. For now, they're just offering equities trading, getting into prediction markets, which also has deep ties into the world of crypto. And so it is this evolution of the market, certainly.
Yeah.
The hottest crypto trade of the year is not.
We're like, dude, something, please pump the price. And
Brian Armstrong says you can now instantly borrow USDC against your XRP. Your XRP is becoming collateral inside the U.S. financial systems. JP Morgan says crypto market may, wait, is there more? Get a meaningful lift in the second half of the year if lawmakers approve the market structure legislation by mid-year. 2026 could be bigger for XRP and crypto than ever before. And yes, we are stuck waiting to hear something about the market bill being passed. Discover the latest status. XRP CEO from Sydney. News, tokenized diamonds, DeFi, and liquidity. Full story. I don't know if we have this up already. I think we do, but we'll add that to the page. I guess we'll go to a video. Let's see here. This is Digital Outlook. See what he has to say real quick.
Morning, guys. Welcome to Coffee Chat. I'm actually speaking kind of low here because I'm in a lounge at the Edmonton International Airport. Judy and I are flying back to Dallas. We've been up here in Canada for about 21 days now. Most of that time, practically all of it, we were out there really helping my mom just do a renovation in her home and stuff like that, which was a great privilege for us to be able to come out here and do that for her. And I know a lot of you guys, you know, investing in this space, you got dreams of blessing your family and just doing different things. And guys, I'm going to tell you something. Those dreams can become a reality. They have in our lives. I know they have in so many people, others' lives. And guys, I believe that this space is going to afford you and I such a change in our financial situations that it is going to be an amazing blessing for many of us. And that's why I say this isn't just a life-changing opportunity. It's a generational opportunity for our families. Now, just reading, you know, some information online today about XRP Ledger's real-world asset tokenization, the value of it, guys, is now at $1.96 billion. And this is coming from an article where they have just added tokenization of diamonds on the XRP Ledger. And so when you think about that, and you think that every single thing that you can imagine can be tokenized on the XRP Ledger, that right there, that represents tremendous potential and value in my mind, because look, we're going into a situation where we are talking about the real world asset tokenization of practically everything. And of course, the entire equity market. Well, I'll tell you what, when you're talking global equity market, you're talking roughly around $105 trillion. Just imagine post clarity what that kind of application will do to the prices of these assets in this space. And right now today, I think it's like at $1.37. Are you kidding me? And yet you got people complaining about that. Look, if you saw the value of XRP long term and where it's going and how it has the potential to just shape this financial system that we're in, and the value that that is going to transition into when it comes to personal wealth is truly mind-blowing. You see that, you're going to look at $1.37. You're not going to be crying. You're going to be laughing your head off, just gobbling it up like, by the way, most institutions are doing. Of course, though, a lot of retail, they don't think of it like that, and they just get into fear. They get into fear. They get into that uncertainty, that doubt. They get all anxious and everything like that. And that's where, you know, they lose their confidence. And why do they lose their confidence? Usually it's because it was based on somebody else's conviction. They have not really gone out there to genuinely research it. And that's why you hear me constantly encouraging you, get out there and research it, pull back the curtain and see just what is happening right before our very eyes. Because when it does take place, guys, and when all's said and done and all the dust settles and all the clarity is in, do you think this opportunity is going to be sitting around waiting for you then? I don't believe it will. I think it'll be bang, gone, and it'll be out of reach for most people. Now, that does not mean that you will not be able to buy XRP, but you won't be buying it at $1.37 or something like that. That's for sure, at least in my mind anyway. And you just compare that to Bitcoin. Look, at one time, you know, you could get Bitcoin for next to nothing. And in fact, when Judy and I got in, Bitcoin was around $3,500 a Bitcoin. That was back in March of 2020. And that was at least affordable to get one. Well, now one Bitcoin's over 60,000. And in this run, we've seen it go as high as 126,000. How many people do you think have 126 grand or even 60 grand to just go out there and buy one Bitcoin, right? Well, that's what I think it's going to be for XRP. You'll be buying it in fractals, in drops. There's 1 million drops in every XRP. And I do believe that if folks are going to be getting it, they're going to be getting it in fractals, because the price of one XRP is going to blow people's minds as to what it can get to. And this, guys, is where that confidence for Judy and I comes from. It's the research, and the conviction that comes with that research. You just peel back the onion. You read the thousands upon thousands of articles that we do every single look. I read so many articles every morning and stuff like that to pick out the ones that, I'd like to talk about and stuff like that. And I'm going to tell you, you start doing that. And then on top of that, going and researching the websites and seeing what's being said with the Bank of International Settlements, of course, the European Central Bank, International Monetary Fund, World Economic Forum, the Federal Reserve. You go to all the conventions and things like that. You just get in a place where you start hearing things. Well, I'll tell you what, that gives you confidence. That's where I am absolutely as bullish as can be. So guys, keep your chin up. Don't let yourself get discouraged by all the FUD. Great and amazing things are coming along, and thank goodness it is Friday. And guys, we will have another video for you later on today, but remember, we also got our Saturday question and answer and our sugar on Sunday. Great nuggets of encouragement. So guys, until then, have a fabulous one and take care.
So shout out to Digital Outlook. I guess we'll roll with this one first about T. Rowe Price XRP announcement.
We are standing at the precise edge of March 1st, where the Clarity Act meets the T. Rowe Price XRP ETF deadline. The timing is no coincidence. It is a calculated deployment of institutional power. I am the calm analyst. Today we decode why Luke Judge's 4 aces signals the National Charter Bank approval. We analyze the clinical shift of RLUSD reserves to the Fed, and why the age of utility is about to liquidate the shitcoin era forever. Are you chasing the riddles, or are you watching the $7 trillion a day Fed plumbing being handed to Ripple? The image of the 4 aces posted by Luke Judge isn't just a winning hand in a game. It is a clinical signal that Ripple has secured the U.S. National Trust Bank charter, the Riddler's successor. Following the departure of David Schwartz and Joel Katz from their operational roles, Luke Judge has emerged as the new Riddler for the institutional age. This poker hand is a 99.9% forensic hint that the long-awaited national charter is now a reality. Legitimacy over speculation. This charter puts Ripple in the same elite sovereign bucket as Circle, Paxos, and Fidelity Digital Assets. We are no longer talking about a crypto company. We are talking about a national fiduciary institution. This status is designed for long-term institutional adoption, a structure where big money buys and holds, reducing the floating supply and driving price through pure structural demand. The bridge strategy. Under this new charter, the roles of RLUSD and XRP are clinically defined. While RLUSD handles stable settlement in domestic corridors, XRP remains the bridge asset for on-demand liquidity, ODL, in exotic corridors where pre-funding is too expensive. This is the double engine that will catapult XRP to the $4 to $5 range as it settles trillions in global trade. The $4 billion shopping spree. Brad Garlinghouse has spent nearly $4 billion acquiring companies to bridge TradeFi and DeFi. These 4 strategic acquisitions were not random. They were the building blocks for this national bank status, ensuring that the old money rails are replaced by XRP ledger infrastructure. The March 1st convergence. Everything points to March 1st. The T. Rowe Price XRP ETF approval, the Clarity Act deadline, and the national bank announcement are all converging in a single, surgical window of time. The charter is the license to operate. The age of utility is the license to win. Are you watching the riddles, Or are you watching the rewiring of the American banking system? The National Trust Bank Charter is the key, but the Fed Master Account is the holy grail of the digital revolution. The direct plug. Ripple has applied for a Fed Master Account, a move that would allow its trust bank to plug directly into the FedWire and FedNow systems. This isn't just connectivity, it is the ability to hold dollar reserves directly at the central bank, instead of relying on third-party commercial institutions. The BNY Mellon transition. Currently, BNY Mellon, one of the oldest and most trusted institutions in the US, acts as the custodian for RLUSD. But as Ripple scales, the shift toward holding reserves directly at the Fed will strengthen the stability and institutional demand for RLUSD, which in turn creates a massive vacuum for XRP. The logic of price, supply plus demand. In the world of finance, supply plus demand equals price. As institutions continue to buy and lock up XRP to facilitate these sovereign rails, the circulating supply begins to evaporate. This is the forensic path toward the $4 to $5 price range, not driven by retail hype, but by institutional necessity. The fiat leak phenomenon. We are approaching the moment where the testing ends and the utility begins. Once the switch is flipped, you will see what I call the fiat leak. Millions of dollars pouring through the XRP ledger every single minute. It won't be flashy. It will just be the silent clinical working of a new global financial infrastructure. The SEC battle legacy. None of this would be possible without the regulatory war Ripple fought against the SEC. That battle was the forensic testing ground that ensured institutions fully understand the power and the legal clarity of XRP. The reserves are moving to the Fed. The liquidity is moving to the ledger. Are you watching the commercial bank balances? Or are you watching the $7 trillion a day Fed rails being digitized? The next phase of the digital revolution is the age of utility. And as Jeremy Allaire of Circle recently stated, this is the moment where real-world use cases replace speculative noise. The death of shitcoins. We are witnessing the final days of assets without fundamental value. In the age of utility, companies will only utilize assets that generate revenue and provide efficiency. As institutions like JP Morgan, BlackRock, and Fidelity enter the arena, the market will naturally liquidate speculative plays that lack institutional-grade plumbing. The Mike Higgins insight. Mike Higgins of Ripple Prime has identified the fatal flaw in the current $7 trillion a day FX market: pre-funding and delayed settlement. 2026 is the tipping point for atomic settlement and intraday collateral mobility. This isn't just a roadmap. It is a live implementation where institutions are moving from trade plus 2 days to instant atomic finality. The $1 trillion roadmap. To reach the goal of $1 trillion in daily volume, we must build in increments. It starts with exotic corridors where pre-funding is too expensive, using XRP as the bridge to convert RLUSD and local currencies instantly. As these corridors expand, the utility creates a foundational flourishing that retail speculation could never achieve. The hidden integration. While the public waits for flashy announcements, the integration is already happening in silence. Institutions are sitting in meetings right now with Ripple asking, when can we go live? Once they flip the switch, they will not revert. The regulatory battle with the SEC has already proven that XRP is the only asset with the legal clarity to support this $7 trillion global engine. Speculation is the smoke. Utility is the fire. Are you holding the noise, or are you holding the sovereign infrastructure of the next decade? The testing phase is clinically over. The 4 aces are on the table. The aces are signed. Whether it is the National Charter Bank approval or a massive government partnership, Luke Judge's signal confirms that a major deal has just been signed. This isn't a theory. It is the beginning of a transformation that will affect every XRP holder in a way the market hasn't priced in yet. The fiat leak goes live. Once the Clarity Act and the XRP ETFs go live on March 1st, you will see millions moving through the ledger every single minute. It will look like a fiat leak as global capital pours into the XRP ledger. The switch will be flipped, and once the system is live, there is no reverting back to the old fragmented rails. Utility is the final victor. The bull markets of the past were driven by hype. The bull market of 2026 is driven by utility. utility. As the shitcoins disappear, the assets that facilitate revenue and bridge global trade, like XRP and RLUSD, will be the only ones standing. Are you waiting for the flashy announcement? Or are you watching the sovereign liquidity already moving through the veins of the system? This is the moment. From the 4 aces to the Fed master account, from T. Rowe Price to the March 1st Clarity Act. The infrastructure is complete. The utility is undeniable. I am the calm analyst. The institutions have taken their seats. The switch has been flipped. Stay patient. Stay clinical. Stay safe.
So shout out to the calm analyst keeping it moving. This is Bullwinkle. If you hold a even one, you need to watch this. It's 14 minutes. What was this? This is 14 minutes. Just did something Wall Street was hoping it wouldn't notice. Let's run it back. See what Bullwinkle has to say.
The weekend is here. Wish it was the 3-day, 4-day.
It's the weekend, baby. Let's see what he has to say.
Maybe even a 5-day weekend. That would be absolutely wonderful. But here we are. We get 2 days and then back to the grind. What you gonna do? We got a major video lined up for you today. Check it out. A former regulator just apologized to Ripple's CEO at the White House. AI discovered a critical flaw that almost destroyed the entire XRP Ledger's network right before launch. And now over 3 million XRP are being deployed in ways that got NASDAQ literally telling people, hey, we're trying to move past Bitcoin into the actual future of finance. If you think this is just another crypto hype cycle, another crypto hype video, you're wrong. You're missing the biggest financial infrastructure shift since the internet went mainstream. Look, I've spent the last 24 hours connecting the dots that Wall Street doesn't want connected. But Rip got your back like always. And what I found, it will change how you see the next 12 months. Here's exactly what's happening, why it matters more than the headline suggests, and the 3 moves that separate people who profit from the shift versus those who watch from the sidelines. Without further ado, hit that thumbs up button and make sure you're subscribed. Let's get into it. Bitcoin, a little bit of a retrace here, a little bit of a retrace across the market, but that's all right. That's all right. Bitcoin's coming in at $65,932. ETH back under 2K, coming in at 1,958. And XRP, yeah, buddy, coming in at $1.38. Total cryptocurrency market cap, $2.35 trillion. Now let's talk about what just happened and what went down. Check this out. This is interesting. This came from XRP Australia, which is going on right now. Brad Garlinghouse on stage with Monica Long and Ashish Burla. So let's start what happened at the White House, because this isn't just industry gossip. This is a regulatory shift that is hiding in plain sight. During XRP Australia 2026, Ripple's CEO Brad Garlinghouse, he revealed that a top US official approached him and said, and I quote, "Sorry, I was wrong, and you guys have done an incredible job." Listen.
And he comes up to me and he says, sorry. He comes up to me and he's like, okay, so you know, I'm sorry. I was wrong. And you guys have done an incredible job. And it's kind of weird that it happened at the White House, but like, I think if we stay the course, we keep doing what we're doing, we keep focusing on utility, I'm incredibly optimistic about the road ahead.
Yeah, what I love about this story is that we took the longer path, but that was the correct.
Now, multiple attendees believe he was talking about Gary the Rat Gensler. Yeah, the same Gensler that led the SEC's brutal lawsuit against Ripple for years. The same regulator who tried to classify XRP as a security and destroy the company's US operations. Now, here's what no one's connecting. This wasn't a casual conversation at a conference. This went down at the White House. That means regulatory policy discussions. That means the highest levels of government are now treating Ripple not as a threat to be eliminated, but as actual infrastructure to be integrated. Brad himself said it's kind of weird that it had to happen at the White House. That's not weird. That's intentional. When regulators apologize at presidential headquarters, they're not just admitting they were wrong. They're signaling a complete reversal in how the US government views digital asset infrastructures. That's right. But here's where everyone gets it backwards because they think this is about XRP winning against regulators. Wrong, because the NASDAQ, they just told us the true story. It's right here. This is what I want to pull up. The NASDAQ said, we are trying to get people to move past Bitcoin and into the actual future of finance. This isn't crypto versus traditional finance anymore, folks. That's done. It's over. This is traditional finance absorbing crypto infrastructure and rebranding it as the new normal. XRP isn't competing with the system. It is becoming the plumbing of the system. And that changes everything about how you should think about what is coming next. Listen up.
For a lot of viewers who are kind of new to crypto and don't really know what to think about stablecoins, don't really know what to think about wrapped assets like wrapped treasuries, stablecoins are great because they help keep value on chain where it needs to be. Wrapped treasuries and RWA items that are used for collateral, great. They allow people to keep things on chain, just to keep everything away from the fiat world. That's critically important. They say, well, how does that affect me? I don't know what to buy after Bitcoin. All of those things have to settle on a blockchain. They're not their own blockchains. They might settle on Ethereum or another blockchain, but they're going to need one. So when everyday investors are thinking, how can they expand their crypto knowledge outside of Bitcoin? Think of all the things that we're talking about. Most of them are going to have to settle, be executed and cleared onto a blockchain. Which blockchain those are going to be among the winners. So just a little bit to spread the knowledge. We're trying to get people past Bitcoin, which basically just moves from one address to another, into the future of finance. And all of the stuff that we're talking about here is going to have to participate.
Keep building those.
Now, let me show you why the AI security discovery is actually the most underrated story here and why it proves something massive about what is actually being built. That's right. We're going to get right here. The XRP Ledger Foundation, they just patched a critical flaw that was caught by an AI bug hunter before it reached mainnet. Most people read that headline and they're like thinking, all right, close call, moving on. But you need to understand what this actually reveals. Advanced AI systems are now actively monitoring and protecting the XRP Ledger's codebase in real time. This isn't some intern running basic security checks. This is sophisticated, and I'm choking. Hold on. I think I'm back. I still might be joking. But the show goes on. The show goes on, folks. Oh, my eyes are watering. It's bad. This is sophisticated. And now I'm sweating. Artificial intelligence scanning for vulnerabilities that have human developers might have missed. This flaw was classified as critical, meaning if this did get voted through and it was already in testing, it could have compromised the entire network security if it went live. But here's the insight everyone's missing. The fact that this was caught and patched so quickly, it shows that the XRP's Ledger's infrastructure, it got military grade security pools. Traditional financial systems, they take months or even sometimes years to identify and fix critical vulnerabilities. XRP's AI-assisted security, it caught this before it ever became a problem. That is huge, everyone. Now, let's talk about why all of this matters for real money. Because when Ripple says XRP can be used for settlement within their prime broker services, right here, as you can see, and I'll blow up the pictures, they're not talking about real investors right here, right? Sending coins to each other. They're talking about institutional settlement, billions of dollars moving through this network. Those institutional banks, the hedge funds, the prime brokers, they will not touch infrastructure that has security questions. And the fact that AI is now protecting the code base before vulnerabilities reach productions, it means that XRP's infrastructure is reaching institutional grade reliability. That is the difference between a speculative asset and actual financial infrastructure. Look, this security discovery didn't happen by accident. It happened because serious institutions are now planning to use this network for serious money. You don't deploy AI security systems on a joke of a project. You deploy them on infrastructure that can't afford to fail because too much capital actually depends on it. And when the NASDAQ tells you, we're looking to move past Bitcoin into the actual future of finance, this is exactly what they mean. Bitcoin doesn't have this level of security infrastructure because it doesn't need to settle institutional transactions at scale. XRP, on the other hand, it does. And that is exactly what is being built right now. But look, that security infrastructure, it wouldn't matter if there wasn't actual demand for what it's protecting. Which brings us to the most concrete proof that this isn't a theory anymore, and it is actually happening in real time. And the numbers, they are bigger than anyone is actually reporting. In less than 24 hours, over 3 million XRP were minted and deposited through Flare smart contracts to earn yield. Look at this graph on your screen. Now, Flare is a layer 1 blockchain that is designed to give utility to assets like XRP that don't natively support smart contracts. These Flare smart contracts, they essentially wrap your XRP and allow her to participate in DeFi application lending, borrowing, and yield generation. 3 million XRP in under 24 hours means institutional size capital is now actively seeking yield on XRP holdings. At current prices, there's over 6 million deployed in a single day. But here's what those numbers actually tell us. This is testing infrastructure for much larger deployments. No institution moves 3 million tokens without first building the rails, testing the systems, and confirming the security. This deployment proves that behind the scenes, the infrastructure for massive XRP utility, it has already been built. And it is now being tested with real capital. And here's where it gets fascinating, folks. Traditional finance works on yields, right? Banks don't just hold dollars, they lend them. They earn interest and they create returns. For XRP to become actual financial infrastructure, it needs to generate yield, not just sit in wallets hoping for price appreciation. What we're seeing right now is the birth of XRP fixed income markets. Institutions can now hold XRP as a settlement asset and earn yield on it while it's not in motion. That is the missing piece that separates digital assets from actual financial infrastructure. This all connects back directly to Ripple's digital prime brokerage services. Prime brokers, they need assets they can settle transactions with and generate return while idle. XRP, it now does both. That's not a feature. That is the entire business model for institutional adoption. Think about that. Things are starting to heat up. Things are starting to cook out there, folks. You are watching the internet moment for money infrastructure. The tech is built, the security is proven, the regulations are clear, and the capital is moving. Everything after this is just scale. And here's the beautiful part. You don't need to predict what happens next. The institutions already told you. NASDAQ told you. The White House told you. Even former regulators told you. The only question is whether you're paying attention to what they're actually saying versus what the headlines want you to see. The future of finance isn't coming. It's already here. It's secured by AI. It's generating yield. It's regulatory compliant, and it's moving billions of dollars. The question isn't what if. The question is how fast. Stay sharp out there, everyone. Enjoy your Friday. That next move, it's already happening.
Looks like that finished a little early. So keeping it moving over to the last video. This is in cash. Let's see what he has to say.
You
real
need
quick.
to really sit back and start doing some research regarding stablecoins. Standard Chartered predicts stablecoin market capitalization could rise from 304 billion.
Rick, did Ripple get the approval? Is a good question. Been trying to get an actual confirmation. I've seen a lot of Twitter posts, but nothing that is fully definitive that the approval is there. Pound Sand Gensler. Anyone think $10 XRP by the end of 2026? Definitely. Somebody just literally said that in one of these postings. I want to say, just saw somebody mention $10 XRP, but let's see. Ripple Bank license changes forever. The part they won't tell you. But let's go over to in cash real quick.
$1 billion today to $2 trillion by 2028. We're talking about a 2-year change.
Changes the
boosting
entire
demand for
trajectory
treasury
of
bills.
XRP.
The increase, driven by macroeconomic trends rather than structural issues, could create $800 billion to $1 trillion in new T-bill demand as stablecoin issuers park reserves. We have talked about this on multiple occasions. Stablecoins are becoming a critical tool for treasury demand. It's at the same exact time that nations outside of the US are simply giving up on treasuries. They're dumping their treasuries. They're looking into gold. They're looking into silver, anything other than US treasuries. And this is because, again, confidence around the US financial system and the US dollar is eroding rapidly. But the US has an answer to this, which is, of course, stablecoin issuers. Now, at the same exact time that we think about this, we go over here to this post here from Chad Steingraber, which is, of course, this is going to accelerate faster than expected. Stablecoins will start hoarding U.S. treasuries at a newer before seen pace, RLUSD. Now, Again, I've said this many times over. This is the new weapon for the US. We know that the US has weaponized the US dollar for decades. This is just another way to keep that, going in the digital age. The best way to make sure that the US dollar remains that dominant currency, even in the digital age of finance, is by weaponizing the digital equivalent of it, which is, of course, US dollar backed stablecoins. Now, I know that Tether is one of the largest holders of treasuries that we know of in terms of the stablecoin game. But I do think that the most dominant names here will be players like Ripple that are fully compliant, fully regulated, and fully transparent. And that's where RLUSD starts to get the green light over these other long-lasting stablecoin issuers like Tether. Now, on top of all of this, I think that every nation is going to look at what the US is doing and also start to really rapidly shift their focus to stablecoins. If you've watched some of my videos recently, I've been talking about stablecoin demand beyond USD. The euro is starting to grow in a rapid way as well. And this is where I think that we could start to see a much larger picture painted for us. Here we have euro-backed stablecoins. This is the only euro-backed stablecoins, right? As you guys can see. And we are now starting to see this really taken off. I know it doesn't seem like much, especially considering the fact that back in the beginning of 2025, we had $224 million worth of stablecoins. Now we only have $708 million worth of stablecoins in euros. However, we are starting to see this grow in a big way. And I think that along with the US dollar-backed stablecoins, because if we're really looking at US dollar-backed stablecoins over time, it started out very small. I mean, here we have 2017, again, very small, $30 million by 2018, $60 million, again, just going throughout like 2019, $608 million. But by 2020, that $600 million turned into roughly over $4+ billion. Again, all it really takes is one big initiative. The major thing that changed the game for stablecoins was simply DeFi. With Mika now a thing, I do think that that euros are going to start to grow in a big way, because now we're going to start to see major institutional players tapping into euro-based stablecoins. I also think that we could start to see FX become a big deal as well. And you already know where I'm going with this, because you guys have been watching a lot of my recent videos regarding the FX market moving on chain. Yes, I do think that Ripple is at the core of this as well. I've been talking about, Ripple, and I've been talking about their plan with XRP for a bit of time now. And even if we go over here to the XRP ledger on rwa.xyz, although yes, stablecoin market cap is only up about roughly 5%, we're starting to see more RWAs moving on to the XRP ledger. And I've been tracking this because, again, typically you can start to catch an announcement before it gets announced. Right now, there's still only, I think, like 6 stable coins here. Yeah, like 6 stable. There's actually 7 stable coins here, but we're starting to see more and more stablecoin initiatives announced on the XRP ledger. And I've brought up my post going back to roughly May of 2025 multiple times, where I was addressing how we're at this, current, stage of, this revolution that we're in, where our financial system is moving on chain, and stablecoins are a huge, piece of the puzzle. I think that stablecoins are showing you everything that's happening, which is, of course, yes, we are witnessing the Forex market moving on chain, which basically powers everything around payments. Payments are the killer use case for crypto. I'll continue to say it, and I'll keep saying it until we start to see mass adoption of crypto. I said it even over here as well. This was always the plan, because, the FX market is such a huge market, especially in key areas around the world where Ripple is starting to really push forward. The UK really kind of comes to mind, because the UK is, they are responsible for well over like 38% of the FX turnover rate. And, we already know that Ripple is a part of the Transatlantic Council, which is also really kind of aligning the US with the UK. I think that this is where we start to see, a much bigger shift around, pound stablecoins as well, and we already have here RLGBP. But I think that every single nation is going to have their own stablecoin. I think that the foreign exchange market itself is going through a revolution silently right now, where we're going to start to see more and more stablecoin initiatives going live, and we're going to start to see the FX market really accelerate on chain. It goes back to what I've been talking about, even with some of the Ripple, employees. Like, for an example, we have here from Mike Higgins. This is again BD and CD at Ripple Prime, formerly known as Hidden Road. He said the world's largest financial market, FX, still runs primarily on pre-funding fragmented cutoffs and delayed settlement. At Ripple Prime, we are seeing growing demand for regulated dollar-backed stablecoins and tokenized collateral to reduce that friction. 2026 will be a tipping point for atomic settlement and intraday collateral mobility across FX and digital assets. Watch this space. And again, this is somebody that's talked about FX for years and years and years. Now, I would love to open up this article and really kind of read all of it, but you have to have a subscription, things like that. So I just don't really care for that. But I will say this. Yes, we are starting to see that big shift from traditional to on-chain FX. And the reason why is because of the benefits. Now, there was also a video clip from a recent Ripple, I think it was a Spaces, but it was basically regarding FX. And I said here that the 8 trillion plus per day FX market is moving on-chain rapidly. Payments is crypto's killer use case. These payment markets are moving quickly on-chain because of the inefficiencies that plague them. Ripple's at the forefront of this, and of course, XRP is at the center of it all, the ultimate bridge currency use case. Check this out.
Forward is that with most of the stable coins that we've seen in the market cap, the vast share of the market cap for stable coins is exactly US dollar. We're starting to see more some stable coins in different currencies around the world. And this then will give us the ability to actually start doing the foreign exchange on the chain. So historically, you would take a fiat currency, you would bring it into Ripple, it would get swapped for XRP or RLUSD, that would get sent somewhere and then potentially could get held, but sometimes get swapped out for fiat. And as we're starting to see more different fiat currency stable coins, the ability to take a fiat currency, swap it for the equivalent stable coin, do the foreign exchange on chain, and then pay that out in the local currency or hold it, is going to start to make the foreign exchange piece of this 24/7 as well. So around the world, we're seeing countries that are far more advanced than the U.S. in their payments. They've established 24/7 instant payment rails, but those are all domestic. And the foreign exchange desks still don't work 24/7. And so being able to bring this on chain gives 24/7 accessibility. And as we start to build more and more of that happening on chain, the amount of liquidity that's available that we can bring in one place rather than having it fragmented across all the different foreign exchange desks around the world will mean there's more liquidity available as well. And we'll start seeing that manifesting and better rates for our customers. So we're already building this and really excited to see where this goes.
And the main thing here is that, Ripple is building towards this right now. And the key focus is always liquidity. Liquidity is the key to all of the use cases that Ripple is trying to build towards. Even with Hidden Road, it's all based around improving liquidity. And that's where I do look at, the big picture around XRP, because XRP has always been the key player around liquidity. And even with the most recent announcement with, the permission DEX and the permission domains, we have, if you want regulated payments and FX on chain, you need two things: compliance and deep liquidity. Permission DEX brings both to the XRP ledger without fragmenting capital across private systems. Shared institutional liquidity, instant local payout, protocol level policy control. This is a big step towards a true global settlement layer. Everything is now in place around the XRP ledger. Like, this is now a possibility. This is something that Ripple is building towards. This is such a big moment, and it's something that I've talked about for so long on the channel finally becoming a reality. But also, we look at the benefits that decentralized finance has on the FX market. We have here traditional market hours, nominal 24-hour market during weekdays, poor liquidity between New York close and Tokyo open, no trading and settlement on weekends, But with DeFi, you have always on 24/7 trading, liquidity through AMMs, and near instantaneous settlement on blockchains. Then the settlement time, T plus 2 days by convention, and often greater than T plus 5 calendar days with holidays and weekends. With DeFi, you have near instantaneous settlement in seconds, occasional blockchain congestions that may result in high gas cost. But we already know that, with the XRP ledger, you don't get that. And then, of course, you have settlement risk, credit exposure, and liquidity risk. Around 1/3 of deliverable FX turnovers are subject to settlement risks exposure on any given day. With DeFi, minimal settlement risk as on-chain transactions adhere to payment versus payment principles by design. Then transparency and trade reporting. Again, I think that this is pretty much self-explanatory. With traditional markets, there's so many limited trade reporting, and pretty much you don't even know when your payment actually gets there. But with DeFi, you could track everything. It's all recorded on public ledgers in real time. Then the benchmark transparency. Key benchmark had issues of rigging with lack of transparency in the price discovery process. But with DeFi, transaction data visibility to the public allows for transparent benchmark construction and audits. Liquidity fragmentation. Again, with traditional markets, you have increasing fragmentation and liquidity due to internationalization of customer flows or internalization of customer flows by banks. Then with DeFi, composability of token standards enable direct liquidity aggregation from different AMM platforms. Then you have liquidity providers. So again, you have with traditional markets, basically you're dealing with principal trading firms supplying liquidity, unlimited order books, and dealers supply liquidity via bank platforms and voice. So you have so many, intermediaries where you see high fees. But with DeFi, any holders of tokenized cash in multiple currencies can supply liquidity via AMMs, which is keeping the cost pretty low for every transaction. Again, it's a night and day difference between the traditional markets and DeFi markets, which is why on-chain FX is going to be the ultimate use case here. Like, this is going to be the ultimate use case for XRP for many currencies, but XRP mainly, we look at, all of the documents from years and years ago, and I can't help but to come to the conclusion that XRP was basically designed for this moment. Now, obviously, I know that XRP wasn't only designed for this, but I'm saying this is definitely a big piece of the puzzle, and this is something that Ripple is building towards. So with that being said, I hope you guys enjoyed this video. If you guys did, definitely like, subscribe, turn notifications on because I'm a free content. You guys are more than welcome to follow me on Twitter and join the free Discord in the description below. And with that being said, guys, Nick, thanks for watching. Peace out, guys.
So shout out to Ncash for those updates. I don't know if I want to run this video or not. We'll give it a try. Who is this? What up? Ordinance Drains. What's going on with your fam? We are rich yet. Are we rich yet? Or do I still have to spend $500 again? I think you got to wait it out, big bro. But it is coming in due time.
95% of the crypto community is going to completely misunderstand what it means. Ripple, the company behind XRP, is on the verge of becoming a federally chartered United States bank. And while every other channel is going to celebrate this headline like it is Christmas morning, I need to show you the data behind this move, because what it actually triggers for XRP price is far more dramatic than a simple pump. This is the moment where the supply shock everyone has been talking about collides with real banking infrastructure, and the result is something most holders are not remotely prepared for. If you are serious about understanding where XRP is actually headed, and you want analysis that gives you a real framework instead of just hype, then subscribe right now. I break down the data that other channels either do not have or deliberately leave out because it does not fit their narrative. Now, let me set the stage for what is happening right now, because the timing of this is not a coincidence. On December 12th of 2025, the Office of the Comptroller of the Currency, the OCC, granted Ripple conditional approval to charter the Ripple National Trust Bank. That was the conditional phase. What is happening right now, and I mean literally this week, is that multiple credible sources are reporting that Ripple could receive full final approval for that federal banking license as early as today. A cryptic social media post from a senior Ripple executive showing 4 aces has sent the community into overdrive, and the buzz around this Friday verdict has reached fever pitch. But here is what nobody is connecting. While the entire crypto world has been focused on whether or not this approval happens, they are completely ignoring what this approval actually unlocks when you layer it on top of the supply data that we already know. And this is where it gets fascinating. Let me walk you through the 3 collision points that are about to reshape XRP price discovery, because understanding these individually is not enough. You need to see how they interact simultaneously. And what I found in the 3rd collision point genuinely surprised me. Collision point number 1. The exchange reserve crisis just got a detonator. We already know that XRP exchange reserves have plummeted to levels we have not seen in 8 years. Binance alone has watched roughly 700 million XRP walk off the platform since November of 2024. Total exchange held XRP sits at approximately 1.7 billion tokens. That is a 55% decline since late 2025. Now think about what that means in practical terms. When a buyer shows up on an exchange right now, there are fewer coins available to purchase than at any point since 2018. Every buy order has to compete for an increasingly thin pool of available supply. But here is what changes everything. When Ripple becomes a federally chartered bank, it gains direct access to FedWire and potentially FedNow, the Federal Reserve's real-time payment system. That means Ripple no longer needs to route its institutional settlement through third-party banks. It becomes the bank, and the stablecoin that powers its banking operations, RLUSD, requires XRP ledger transactions to function, which means every single bank-to-bank settlement that flows through the Ripple National Trust Bank creates organic demand for XRP on the ledger. Now layer that new structural demand on top of exchange reserves that are already at historic lows, and you start to see why this is not just another headline. Tell me in the comments right now, are you still accumulating XRP at these levels, or are you waiting for confirmation of the banking license first? I want to see where this community stands. Collision point number 2, and this one is critical. The ETF absorption rate is about to accelerate in a way that most analysts have not modeled. Currently, 7 spot XRP exchange-traded funds are trading in the United States with a combined assets under management of approximately $1 billion and nearly 795 million XRP tokens locked in custody. Since launching in mid-November of 2025, these products have posted positive weekly inflows with only 5 negative outflow days total. That is a consistency that Bitcoin and Ethereum ETFs could not match during the same period. In fact, while Bitcoin ETFs lost 1.38 billion and Ethereum shed 351 million in early January, XRP ETFs kept posting net gains. Now here is what the source video you probably just watched did not tell you. Those ETF inflows have been happening while Ripple operates as a crypto payments company. Federally chartered bank, the compliance profile of the entire XRP ecosystem transforms overnight. Institutional allocators who currently cannot touch XRP because of internal compliance mandates suddenly have a path. When you have a federally regulated bank managing the reserves of a dollar-backed stablecoin that settles on the XRP ledger, the risk committee conversations at pension funds and sovereign wealth funds change completely. The question shifts from should we have exposure to XRP to how much exposure do we need? And this is backed by real data. David Mann, head of ETF product at Franklin Templeton, has publicly called XRP foundational for cross-border settlement. Wisdom Tree's director of digital assets research has stated that altcoin exposures like XRP could outperform a standard Bitcoin and Ethereum allocation in a risk-on environment. These are not random influencers on social media. These are the people who manage hundreds of billions in institutional capital. If this is starting to change how you think about the next 6 months, smash that like button. Let us see how many of us actually understand what is being built here beneath the surface. Now here is collision point number 3, and this is the one that genuinely changed my outlook. I want you to consider something that almost nobody is discussing. When Ripple receives its banking license, it does not just gain the ability to custody and settle digital assets under federal oversight. It gains the ability to manage RLUSD reserves as a nationally chartered trust bank. That means the reserves backing every single RLUSD stablecoin in circulation will be held by a federally supervised institution. This dual regulatory layer, state level through the New York Department of Financial Services and federal level through the OCC, creates a compliance moat that no other stablecoin currently has. Not Tether, not even Circle's USDC, though Circle also received conditional approval alongside Ripple. But here is the piece that everybody is missing. RLUSD does not just sit there as a stablecoin for people to hold. It is designed as the operational fuel for Ripple's cross-border payment network. And that network already extends to over 90% of the global foreign exchange market, having processed more than $95 billion in transactions to date. Every time RLUSD is used for a bank-to-bank settlement, it generates transaction activity on the XRP ledger. The bridge asset function of XRP means that for every corridor where banks are using RLUSD to move value, XRP is the mechanism that makes the conversion possible. Now compound that with the numbers we already know: exchange reserves at 8-year lows, ETF products absorbing roughly 12.6 million XRP per week, wallets holding over 1 million XRP reaching an all-time high of 2,700 addresses, and whale cohorts controlling 17.04% of circulating supply after accumulating 3.17 billion XRP since October. The math is directional and it points one way, but I also want to be honest with you because I am not here to sell you hopium. This is not financial advice and I am not a financial advisor. There are legitimate risks that you need to factor in, and this is something the video you probably watched before this one touched on, but then ran away from without giving you a real answer. The escrow. Ripple still holds approximately 39 billion XRP in escrow, with 1 billion tokens scheduled for release every single month. If the banking charter faces delays in reaching full operational status, or if RLUSD adoption stalls in key corridors like Japan, South Korea, and the Middle East, that monthly supply release hits the open market without enough structural demand to absorb it. And let me be clear, the bear case is not that XRP goes to zero. The bear case is that XRP stays flat for another 12 months while that escrow supply slowly dilutes the scarcity thesis. However, and this is a significant however, the data we have right now suggests the bull case is far more probable. Standard Chartered, despite recently cutting their price target from $8 to $2.80, still projects nearly 100% upside from current levels. Consensus analyst estimates cluster around $3 to $3.50 for 2026, and the more aggressive institutional forecasts, the ones that assume ETF inflows sustain above 300 million per month. Exchange supply continues declining, and the banking license drives new institutional demand. Those models put XRP between $4 and $5 by year end. Do you think XRP hits $3 before 2027? Comment yes or no below and give me your reasoning. I want to hear both sides of this debate. Now, let me give you what I think is the most valuable part of this entire analysis, and it is the part that the video you watched before this one completely left out. The actual framework for positioning yourself based on this data. Because knowing that a supply shock is coming means nothing if you do not have a plan for how to navigate it. Here is what I am personally watching. And again, this is educational. This is what I am looking at for my own research, not financial advice for your specific situation. The first level I am focused on is the $1.40 zone. XRP is trading right around $1.40 today, and this level has become a battleground. Spot buy volumes surged 212% between February 23rd and 24th, with buying pressure outpacing selling by more than 2 to 1. That is not retail noise. That is institutional dip buying at what they clearly view as a structural accumulation zone. The second level is $1.45, which has been acting as immediate resistance. A sustained break above this level with volume confirmation would signal that the current consolidation phase is ending and a new leg higher is forming. The third level, and this is the one I am watching most closely, is $2. Multiple technical analysts have identified this as the critical resistance level for early 2026. A break above $2 would confirm that the structural tightening from ETF inflows and exchange reserve declines is finally translating into price discovery. But here is the framework that separates the 1% from everyone else. The institutions are not waiting for the breakout. They are accumulating during the boredom. The data shows 3.8 billion XRP has flowed from whale wallets into positioning since January, while exchange supply simultaneously declined. That apparent contradiction, big inflows to exchanges while overall supply drops, tells you that one class of investor is selling and another class is buying everything they sell. And the class that is buying is the one with the longer time horizon and the deeper pockets. Ripple backing a seed round for 54 Labs, an AI agent startup building identity infrastructure for financial transactions on the XRP ledger, tells you where the company sees the next wave of demand coming from. They are not just building payment rails, they are building the infrastructure for autonomous AI agents to execute financial transactions on chain. That is a use case that did not exist 12 months ago, and it positions XRP at the intersection of the two biggest trends in technology right now: artificial intelligence and blockchain-based finance. The Arizona state legislature is actively lobbying to add XRP to a state strategic crypto reserve fund. This is not speculation. This is the Arizona Digital Reserve Bill, and XRP is specifically named as one of the assets under consideration. When state governments start accumulating a cryptocurrency as a reserve asset, the reflexive impact on institutional perception cannot be overstated. It validates the entire thesis that XRP is transitioning from a speculative token to financial infrastructure. And this brings us back to the core thesis. The video that probably led you here told you that a supply shock was coming and that institutions were accumulating while retail panicked. That analysis was correct. But what it did not tell you was what specifically catalyzes the transition from accumulation phase to price discovery phase. And the answer, based on every piece of data I have examined this week, is the Ripple banking license. It is the bridge between silent institutional positioning and public market repricing. When a crypto company gains federal banking rails, the compliance barrier that has held back the next wave of institutional capital simply dissolves. And that dissolution happens while exchange supply is at levels we have not seen since 2018. The 5 consecutive red monthly candles that XRP is about to print mirror the exact pattern from October 2016 to February 2017. The last time this happened, XRP rallied over 60,000% in the months that followed. Now, obviously, with an $88 billion market cap, a 60,000% gain is mathematically impossible. But 150 to 250% move from current levels puts XRP between $3.50 and $5, and that aligns perfectly with the consensus institutional range. Share this video with one other XRP holder who needs to understand what this banking license actually means for their position. Most people are going to see the headline and move on. The ones who understand the data behind the headline are the ones.
So let me know if you guys understand the banking license information or if you have any questions. If not, thanks for joining. Don't forget to like, share, and subscribe. And as always, let's get back to the money, guys, and stay dangerous. Happy Friday, and miners out.